Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sportuccino. I'm Richard Parr on Wednesday, the 8th of February 2017. So great to have you here live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and live on Periscope. Please get involved in the conversation because we've got so much to talk about today. Plus, we're going to be looking at an amazing tennis app called Yellow Tap Tennis. We've got the founder, Sean Ridley, coming up on the show. You do not want to miss that. But let's start the day with our morning sports headlines. Barcelona reached the Copa del Rey final after beating Atletico Madrid 3-2 on aggregate. Two Edin Dzeko goals helped second place Roma beat Fiorentina 4-0 in Serie A. Germany's World Cup winning captain Philipp Lahm will retire from football at the end of the season. And 185 from Faf du Plessis helped South Africa take a 4-0 lead in their one-day series against Sri Lanka. So those are our morning sports headlines. What did you make of that Barcelona match? I haven't seen it myself, but it sounded like an absolutely cracking game. 3 sendings off, Barcelona going down to 9 men, one of them being Luis Suarez, who had scored earlier in the game. A late equaliser from Kevin Gamero, meaning that the game finished 1-1, but Barcelona went through 3-2 on aggregate. Gamero also missed a penalty in that game. Plus, Griezmann had a goal which was ruled offside, even though by looking at the replays it wasn't offside. Really exciting game it sounds, but Barcelona for a 4th year in a row going through to the Copa del Rey final. What do you make of that? Would love to get your thoughts on the Facebook page and on the Twitter page. Get involved, people, at Sportuccino. We would love to hear from you. Alright, and we were also mentioning about Roma there. 4-0 winners over Fiorentina. They're now 4 points behind the league leaders Juventus. Juventus play tonight against Crotone. What do you make of that? Would love to hear from you. Alright, before we talk about what's on our Twitter poll, I want to tell you about 99 Designs. They helped design our amazing logo. You see it behind me. It's really, really good. And what they do is they offer it to talented freelancers. So you say, all right, I want a logo, I want a website, I want a business card design. They offer it to freelancers around the world. And then you get to see all of their different ideas. You pick a handful of the ones that you like. And then eventually you work with the designers until you pick one designer and you pick your one final design. I really recommend it. I'm going to put a link to it on our Facebook and on our YouTube page. Plus, all of the resources we use to make Sportuccino are at sportuccino.com/resources. Have a look at them. And of course, if you do click through the links, more likely than not, they're an affiliate link, so you will be helping support our show. So I'd really appreciate that. All right, as I mentioned, we'd like to continue our sports conversation a little bit further on our Twitter page. Let's have a look at what's on the Twitter page right now. We'll start with the result of the last poll. And that is, will Sergio Aguero be a Manchester City player next season? And 83% of you say no, he won't. Of course, Gabriel Jesus has started the last 2 games, scored in both of them. The young 19-year-old Brazilian in place of the Argentinian. A lot of rumours going around. Could Aguero be going to Real Madrid? Could he go to another Premier League club? Could he be going off to China? Remember, he's only 28 years old. I think he's a very, very good player. And I think there'll be space for both of them. But, you know, he is a top-class player and he really shouldn't be sitting on the bench. And 83% of you think he won't be a Manchester City player next season. Thank you for getting involved in that poll. And we're talking strikers on today's poll as well. Let's have a look at today's poll. We want to know, who is the best striker in the Premier League? Is it Aguero? Is it Costa? Is it Ibrahimovic? Or is it Harry Kane? I'd love to get your thoughts on all of that. Personally, for me, I actually think it's Aguero. He can't get in the Manchester City team, but I think he's the best striker that they have to offer. And in fact, there are a few players there who you could consider as the best striker. The leading goal scorer right now is Romelu Lukaku, followed by Alexis Sanchez. Is Sanchez a striker? I'm not quite so sure. He's certainly a goal scorer. If you've got strong opinions, let us know on the Twitter page at Sportuccino. Also, what about Jermaine Defoe? What about Jamie Vardy, who's having a party? Love to get your thoughts on that on the Twitter page. Now, we mentioned the website as well. One of the cool things we've got on the website is you can buy some amazing merchandise. We've got mugs like this one, like I'm drinking my coffee out of. Absolutely. Look at that. It's a pretty cool mug, right? You know you want one. And we've got t-shirts, we've got hoodies. You know, it's pretty cold. You want to wrap up warm in an organic hoodie. Why don't we have a look at a little video of what else we've got on offer at sportuccino.com. Now, we all know I'm very good at promoting my own merchandise, such as the Sportuccino mug, but I wasn't expecting the same from the founder of Yellow Tap Tennis, Sean Ridley. Sean, love the t-shirt.
Thank you very much, Richard.
Where can I buy it?
You can't at the moment.
Oh.
It's the first touch of hopefully what could be a line of merchandise, but we're just starting out.
Well, you're just starting out, and you know, being on Sportuccino is now going to push the app through the roof, hopefully.
That's
but tell us about Yellow Tap Tennis.
Yellow Tap Tennis is an app aimed at club players. It's born out of my personal desire to have my own match stats when I come off court after a game, and I didn't feel there was anything particularly adequate or user-friendly out there. So born out of a hobby essentially, and my love for the Pro Tour and all the stats that come from that game, I thought it's time that we have something accessible on court here at Preston, Brighton, at your local club and wherever you play. And here we are, just starting out.
So tell us exactly the type of things it's measuring.
Sure. It gives you aces, double faults, first serve percentage, forehand, backhand, winners to unforced error ratio, your success at the net, your break point conversion, and then lots of areas to add manual information as to who you were playing, the surface, indoors, outdoors, the length of the game, so that over time you can then start to filter your stats, not just in isolation, but against a certain type of player or on a particular surface. And there's so much information to glean from what is a simple input methodology.
When you say there's so much information and so much data there, what have you found as the most useful bits of data there which have helped you improve your game, perhaps?
It's the winners to unforced errors ratio, because when you step off court, you can perhaps remember 2 or 3 key points, and you can't really get a sense for themes. You get a sense for whether or not you played well, and generally it's not, because when you play well, you don't really think about it as an amateur. So being able to see, wow, forehand was 7 winners but 14 unforced errors, that tells me next game I need to rein that in. I need to stop going for the lines. I need to play more percentage tennis. And that for me has been the key.
And you say it's mainly aimed at amateurs, but do you think there is scope for players at a higher level to use it and to learn from it?
I think in development, definitely, particularly teenagers coming through who have a lot of coaching and parental input. Absolutely, because as far as I'm aware, semi-pros, teenagers, they go off to tournaments all over the country trying to get experience of tournament play, and can't always have their coaches go with them. So having a tool by which they can take down their stats, either themselves or with a family member sitting at the side of the court, is of huge potential.
So it's an app on your phone, on your watch, sorry, connected to your phone.
You got it.
And then how do you take that data? Because not everyone wants to look at all the stats on their phone, or on their watch even.
Spot on. So the watch is the driver, because it had to be something that you can do yourself on the court. But the watch is primarily for input. Then it syncs to your phone at the end when it's complete, and you view the stats on your phone.
And it's on the Apple Watch, correct?
It's currently only on iOS and Apple Watch. However, that is the next goal, is to make this available on Android, and particularly those Android Wear compatible watches. which will really open up the market for me.
And it's definitely something which people can learn and improve their game from. And I think one of the other ways people can learn and improve their game from is looking at the top players, the top professionals. Who are some of the players that you enjoy watching and feel you've learnt from as an amateur player?
I call myself an amateur player for the best part of a dozen years now. So naturally that marries up with the career of, let's just say it, Roger Federer, who I don't think can not have an effect on any young player. Whether or not you're a fan or you admire his game, there's something that by watching him inspires you. The same goes for so many others, but personally with a one-handed backhand myself, it's been him who has kept me going out on wintry days like we have at the moment to try and improve.
You're a brave man. Go in a bubble, mate. Go in a bubble, play indoors. Yeah, Federer's unbelievably graceful. What did you make of that final against Nadal?
I'm almost beyond words now, and I think like most of the tennis industry is, because it was more than a match. We could break down the match, but I don't want to bore anyone. For me, it was a story. You couldn't have written it. No one could have written it, and everyone would say that. Before the match, him to face Nadal, both having been injured recently, both with respect, getting older compared to their peers, it was delightful, absolutely delightful. And for the tennis watching world, it was fantastic. Whoever would have won, it was fantastic.
Felt like 2008 all over again.
It did, didn't it?
It was great to see. Of course, neither player made the ATP World Tour finals due to injury and poor performance, and then to come storming back.
Exactly.
Absolutely amazing. All right, talked tennis, but let's get to know you a little bit better. Let's play a bit of 5 favourite things. I always forget what they are. It's supposed to be a quick fire round. I'll probably interrupt you, but we're going to go for it anyway.
Do it. I'll do my best.
Okay, so ready, steady, go. Favourite book?
Not a big reader, but my lasting memory is Barack Obama's autobiography.
Ah, cool. Favourite song?
Ooh, wow, you got me. Pass, come back to that.
We can't do passes. We don't do passes. This is a mastermind.
What am I listening
I'm not
to
Magnus
right
Magnuson.
Oh, wow. You know what? I'm really into M83's latest album, Junk.
I have no idea who they are, but I'm going to listen up and look afterwards. And you know what? I'll put a link to them on the Facebook page afterwards. You can listen and you can tell Sean whether it's good, bad, or terrible.
Okay.
Let us know. Favourite city?
Barcelona.
That used to be my favourite.
What's it?
Now Cape Town.
Okay.
I've been there twice. I haven't been there the last 2 weeks. Check out the videos on Sportuccino.com, people. Favourite film?
Man on Fire is a old-time favourite.
Is that Denzel Washington?
Yeah,
I've
spot
not
on.
seen that.
Check it out. Amazing, amazing.
And favourite food?
Pizza, pasta.
Pizza.
Big Italian fan, yeah.
If there's one pizza?
Keep it simple. Margarita, maybe some anchovies.
All right. Any particular pizza restaurant in the Brighton area as we're here?
You know what? I don't know how to pronounce it. Apologies. I think it's Chin Chin, a new one on Vine Street. That I've been dying to check out. Otherwise, VIP down at the Old Steen is phenomenal.
I don't know either of them. I'm off for pizza for lunch now, I think. Sean, it's been really good to talk to you this morning. Just before you go, just give us a reminder of where we can download your app and also any other information about following you on social media or anything like that.
Absolutely. So the app is available on the App Store. We have following on Twitter, Facebook, even developing a LinkedIn network as well for the professional side of things. And I'd very much like to offer out some promo for any interested parties. For the first 10 people who will tweet at Yellow Tap Tennis match stats, I will give out promo codes worth up to £30 for the app in full flight.
Fantastic. Well, we'll put those on the YouTube page and on the Facebook page once we finish that show as well. And of course on iTunes. Sean from Yellow Tap Tennis, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, we'll put those links on the podcast page as well, because we are on iTunes, we are on Stitcher, and it's really important to help support the show that you rate and review the show on iTunes. If you don't know how to do it, we've made a video of exactly how you can do it. morning and welcome to Sportuccino. Well, Sean mentioned there about Roger Federer. Of course, he is one of the greatest of all-time tennis players, and as well as doing Sportuccino every single weekday morning from 8 GMT, I also have another podcast called The Best in the World with Richard Parr, where I interview Olympic champions, world champions, former world record holders, and former world number ones. We've got a brand new podcast out right now on iTunes. It's with the Olympic champion show jumper from Team Jumper. It is Beezy Madden. Go and check that out on iTunes. And that is also related to today's goal of the day. You know, all of these different top stars, these Olympic champions, world champions, they all set their own goals, be it a long-term goal, a short-term goal, or even a daily goal. And that's what we try to do on our Snapchat page at Sportuccino. So every single morning, I do a brand new goal of the day. Let's have a look what's on it today. The goal of the day was inspired by my other podcast, The Best in the World with Richard Parr, where I interview Olympic and world champions. They're always talking about goal setting on the show, and so that's why we do the goal of the day. And that is related to today's goal, because I will be interviewing the two-time Olympic gold medalist Caroline Lind. So I need to do a bit of prep and get ready for that interview. That's my goal of the day. Let me know what's yours. Well, if you were looking on our Snapchat page yesterday, you will have seen that I was at the networking event hosted by journalism.co.uk. When you go and have a look at the Snapchat page, it'll still be there. An amazing event. Thanks to John and his team for hosting, and thank you for Crunch for sponsoring the event. And of course, I'm hosting my own sports networking event in Brighton next Monday the 13th of February from 6:30 p.m. If you can make it, it would be great to see you. You could be a YouTuber, a blogger, a podcaster, a writer, a reporter, a presenter, a producer, a director, anything related to sports media. We would love to meet you. It's free to come along. It's from 6:30 p.m. There's a link to it on the Facebook and on the YouTube page. So I've got some comments coming in. Paul Gerhard is involved. He's saying, welcome back, Richard. Of course, I've been in Cape Town for the last 2 weeks. How was SA? South Africa was amazing. Thank you for asking, Paul. Go back and watch some of the episodes. You'll see we had an amazing backdrop and we met some really fantastic people and had some top interviews with people such as Robin Adams, Robin Peterson, the former South Africa cricketer, Zaid Omar, a radio journalist, sports journalist for Good Hope FM. Lots of amazing different people. Go back and watch them on sportuccino.com. And you know what? Being in Cape Town, South Africa, it's just one of the many places I've visited around the world, over 30 countries in fact, and along my way I've picked up a few travel tips. So let's talk about today's travel tip. Now this one is inspired by the guy whose Airbnb we stayed at for the second week when we were overlooking the amazing Cape Town Stadium. Jacques, very good host, thanks to Jacques. And Jacques was talking about whenever he went to a brand new city, he's a documentary maker, he would go to the first pub and just spend time there and start talking to people and meeting locals. And I'm going to go one further today and I'm going to say visit an Irish pub. You know, I've done that in a lot of cities I've been to before. I don't mean they go there every night. I don't mean they spend your whole week there. But I always find it's a good place to meet people who speak your language, who might know a little bit about the city. They might live in the city, and you can certainly meet people. And you know what, after a few drinks, after a few beers or wines, people will get a little bit more relaxed and you get to know people. And I've done that before in Dubai, in Spain, in France, all over the place. And I think it's just a good place to go. And the one thing, being a sports fan, as you're watching Sportuccino, for sure you know they will have the live Premier League football wherever you are in the world. And in fact, unlike England, they'll be able to show the 3 o'clock games. You know, that rule really annoys me. But let's not talk about that. So today's travel tip is go and visit an Irish bar. So tonight, Leicester City face Derby in an FA Cup replay. Pressure on Claudio Ranieri. They had that big defeat at home to Manchester United. They're 1 point above the relegation zone. The champions of England are not looking like champions, while the one player who they sold, N'Golo Kante, is certainly looking like a potential champion again with Chelsea. What do you make of Ranieri at Leicester? Is it time for him to go? Does he need more time at Leicester because they've got the Champions League to come? Would love to get your thoughts on that. I personally think they should keep him. I think they should let him go through the Champions League. And maybe at the end of the season, if it really has been disappointing, if they get relegated perhaps, then maybe he needs to be replaced. But I think if they stay up, if they can have a good run in the Champions League, then they can rebuild. And I think perhaps it's time to let a few of the players go. I think it's time maybe for Mahrez to go, maybe Vardy to go, and then rebuild and start again. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts on Leicester City. Would love to hear from you. All right, we've reached the end of today's Sportuccino, but let's have a quick reminder of today's sports headlines. Barcelona reached the Copa del Rey final after beating Atletico Madrid 3-2 on aggregate. 2 Edin Dzeko goals helped second-place Roma beat Fiorentina 4-0 in Serie A. Germany's World Cup winning captain Philipp Lahm will retire from football at the end of the season. And 185 from Faf du Plessis helped South Africa take a 4-0 lead in their one-day series against Sri Lanka. Yes, Philipp Lahm deciding to retire at the end of the season with Bayern Munich. He's only 33. What an amazing career he has had, winning Bundesliga titles, Champions League, lifting the World Cup with Germany. An incredible player. Could not only play right back, but also played in central midfield under Guardiola. A really great player. I'll be sad to see him retire at the end of the season. Do you have any favourite memories of Philipp Lahm? I would love to hear from you. Alright, we have reached the end of the show. If you get a chance to like our Facebook page, if you haven't already, that would be wonderful. Also, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. It was really good to talk to Sean from Yellow Tap Tennis. We'll put up links to that at the end of this show. But I've been Richard Parr. You've been watching Sportuccino, and I'll be back tomorrow morning from 8 GMT. Goodbye for now.